Hi there, let's have a look at the messages for today. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Conscious awareness. Someone's not... Try and be careful of any... Be mindful. Stay in the present moment. If people are looking too far backwards or too far forwards, it's not going to work. Bottom of the deck is Compass. I'm going to shuffle this deck. You're going to have to practice mindfulness today. Okay, what else, please, Spirit, for today? Wow, it's a lot of cards. Yeah. We've got very up and down energy. We've got some kind of old versus new, and then some kind of happiness versus struggle. Okay, if you're in that energy, just keep going with it. Okay, we've got, again, needing help and feeling like someone needs to help you versus you helping yourself. You're your own good luck. You know that, right? You're your own good luck. You don't need anyone to save you. That's how I want to say it. Don't be pulled into that externalizing, because you know, this is about regret. This is about regret and being honest with the self and or others. Someone's got a regret over a lot of different things here that is also holding back. There needs to be acceptance and or empathy. Okay. Yeah. This is about love of the self versus love of others. We're in this really polarizing energy right now. Okay, show me. Show me, please. Yeah. Someone... It's like an old imprint of the self is playing out, but it's not at the same time. It's this like old record that's playing on a loop, is how I want to say it. Someone's in regret about a situation or life. Yeah. This energy will be like, you're going to have this very kind of polarized energy for a while because of this old versus new energy. It's like a spinning top that has to kind of complete its cycle before it's done what it needs to do, basically. But it's done deliberately to clear out what is not needed any longer in the psyche. It's done deliberately. This is all meant to help with kind of clearing out old patterns of behavior, old timelines. You got to have patience with this. You got to have patience with it. But there's definitely this guilt that's being processed. Yeah, it's about worthiness, feeling. This is about healing issues of worthiness and or guilt and blame from childhood. This energy right here. It's like if you have been used to an environment that was stuck, limited, or you were a part of something that wasn't really It's like an old limiting belief system that is being replayed until it's removed. That's how I want to say it. So old belief systems and old way of doing things are being played out so that there's an understanding here. And it's like we're on a loop until that's completed, basically, is how I want to say it. But it's not an actual loop. It's like we're making sure the job's being done properly, is how I want to say it. People are making sure the job is being done properly. That's kind of the way I want to say that. Because it's old mentalities, old thought processes, old ways of relating to things that are being called into judgment here, and they're being brought up for a reason. Yeah, because again, if we're moving into this new timeline where we're creating a reality, if we're still stuck in that old timeline where we're looping around the worst case scenario, that will be created into our reality, which is why it's being brought up for healing. Because if you're bringing it up for healing, it can no longer play out in a manifestational role and being projected into your reality. So if you're then healing that mindset, your external environment will display the same attributes as well, because we've got fruition and creation. So if you've got this worst case scenario energy playing out in your head from a lack of worthiness or low self-esteem, then it will be projected into your environment and it will go in a loop until that's being resolved. So it's like we're moving out of that energy, but it's like we're having to go back sometimes to relive certain things and close doors behind us so that we don't go into this new phase or stage or this new chapter where we're bringing the junk, we're bringing the kind of debris, that we're bringing the baggage. This is about a closure of baggage here. Yeah, assessing, being realistic and assessing things, and self-reflecting. Self-reflecting. That's going to be the most important part of this message, is taking accountability of, if you're not liking your environment, why? Because there's a reason for that. It's like it's projecting what you need to be aware of within the self in a lot of cases. Right, anything else for today? Anything else? It's like you're comparing yourself to other people, which is also not going to help you. Asking why certain people have this, or why is that different, and why do they get to do that? That's their unique journey, their unique path. But it's like, be careful that people aren't using your wounds against you, where if you don't feel good enough, people are like utilizing that to their favor. Because if that wound is still prevalent and people are then projecting their wounds onto you, it could be that they're using that wound against you so that you're then sort of staying in that energy longer, so that you're not coming out of that, so that because they don't want to move forward, you don't want to move forward, or maybe they can't move forward, and so that's then projected onto you. So there's a mirroring going on here. Again, we've got abundant energy. Maybe you don't like the fact that you're different, but that difference is why you're in this abundant energy to begin with. And maybe that was always a part of your soul's journey on this lifetime. And so acceptance of that and acceptance of who you are and an acceptance of being good enough will recreate a different timeline to then recreate what others are able to project onto you and what they're not able to project onto you. Because if you no longer resonate at that energy then and integrate that shadow, then it's going to be harder for other people to project that onto you. Because you're no longer going to resonate with that, but it will bring happiness. This is about self-esteem and regret as well. It's like people don't want to acknowledge that they're individual, or they've got a gift, or they don't want to stand out. They just want to keep, their security, but they're not happy at the same time. They're not happy to do that. It doesn't resonate with them to stay in that energy any longer. And that's the problem. And so people are acknowledging that, but then they're not completely out of the energy where they can move into this new energy yet. So we're in this ricocheting effect, but it's because we're just, they're wanting us to clear everything out first. That's what this is about. Keep the faith. This is going to be really important for you guys. I'm getting emotional because I can feel my dad. Miraculously, amazingly, everything I need always comes. Love is opening me to receive beyond anything I imagine. They're clearing the way. They're clearing the way. You're clearing your way. They're helping. Okay? Oh my Lord, wake me from life as a spiritual sheep. Sorry. Sorry, that I wasn't expecting that kind of bluntness, but okay. I mean, my dad is definitely here. That's the kind of thing my dad would say. May I hear you? Oh my goodness, this is so funny. May I hear you through my own instincts. May I hear you through my own instincts and common sense. This is hilarious. This is the kind of thing my dad would say. Yeah, this is helping lead you out of this confusion energy because, oh look, because of a loss, right? So we've all probably felt like we have to lose something, or maybe we already have, right? But this is about understanding why and what that is meant for. Sometimes, I'm going to cry, you learn true offering through loss. You make a passionate invitation for love to take over and bring her own plan instead of the ego's. I've got everything watering. I've got my eyes watering. I've got my... Oh dear. It's because I've got incense on the go as well. And I need to open more windows at this point. It's so funny. Yeah. Okay, let me just compose myself here. This is about understanding and integrating everything that needs to be integrated after a loss. And whether or not that's a loss of identity, a loss of a loved one, a loss of a lifestyle, a loss of, you know, your peer group, friends, family, whatever you identify that to be, this is about understanding the bigger picture to that. You know, it's like there is no loss without a gain. Because of how the universal order works, right? There's no loss without a gain. Okay. There's more to that message, but I'm trying to compose myself. I'm trying to compose myself first. Okay, so... we've got extraordinary and divine flow. There is a wild, impetuous uniqueness to you that deserves to be honoured. And eventually one sublime desire takes precedence over the others to follow the Tao, the divine flow at all costs. So it's like we have to create space, right, for new things, new energy, and honoring the old, you know, patterns of, or the old ways, you know, respecting that got you to a certain point, respecting that this is an evolutionary energy where, you know, that brought a lot of blessings and it brought you up to a certain point, but it's like the old way has to be acknowledged and let go of in some respects, because that doesn't serve. It doesn't serve to keep holding on to that in a lot of ways. Obviously, we have to still do our healing, right? We don't just avoid it, because that's not helpful either. But this is about expansiveness. Eternity is far more creative than the rigid, constrained, exhausted ego. This is about a death of an ego. So, yeah. So, if you've had a situation, again, with this mask or this way of being that is being called to be released now, or to be integrated, or to be understood, because it's time, or there's an old way that has to be let go of because it's time, the ego will be pushing up against that because it's got that fear. But again, it's fear, right? It's not a reality. It's just how our mind works. It's this kind of instinctive mechanism that kicks into place. So if you've got that energy that you're flitting towards at the moment, just be aware that, and be conscious, and remember the first message of this video, if you're staying mindful of that, then you're able to navigate it a lot easier. But if you're drawing in and buying in to that energy where you're holding on to this rigidness, then you're missing out there. Or if you're wishing for the past, or you're projecting into the future and willing the future to come and not enjoying the present moment, there's a lack of awareness here. And again, it's this ego rigidity that's, and remember, you're a master of your own creation. So if you're in that energy, you're also projecting that the current situation isn't good enough. The current reality isn't good enough, and you're disempowering yourself by telling yourself that as well. Let me see. I can't keep looking at that card. That reminds me of my dad so much. Let me just tap it. I can't keep looking at that card. I keep getting my dad. Not that that's a bad thing, but when I'm reading it, it's not great because I'm trying to move through that emotion. And actually, maybe that's a part of it. Maybe you guys do need to acknowledge a certain element or emotion here that has to be released. There's definitely something that has to be released here. Again, maybe there's a guilt, shame around a loss, or feeling guilty for wanting different, feeling guilty for healing, feeling shameful for moving out of or moving away from something. Spirit is saying, put it back, put it down. That's not what they're wanting you to do. Don't be ashamed of healing. Don't be ashamed of moving out of things because it's time or it's needed. Life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning. Okay, anything else for this to clarify the points I've been making? Yeah, deep cellular healing, physical and emotional healing. So it's like there's an understanding here that's being implemented. So there's an energetic sovereignty that's being learnt here. And this conflicting energy that's being integrated through different aspects that may be hard to understand or process at the moment. I feel like I need to get one more point out at this point for this reading. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's asking for you to have trust in your relationships day to day and have patience for this. Asking you to have patience and understanding for this. Okay, and not to worry. Okay. Someone is changing how they're viewing the situation, but again, there just needs to be a little bit more time here with this. All right, hopefully that helps. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your subscriptions. It means a lot to me. Until next time, take care.